Alright, internet friends, today we got something very special and exciting, something that I've been waiting for about a week now, but something I've been planning for a little bit longer than that, and that is this lovely package that I got here from Eastwood. So, if you don't know, Eastwood makes all kinds of tools, but what they make that I'm particularly interested in is powder coating tools. So I've been working on this CT90 restoration, and I have a very long video coming out at some point. It's going to be a lot to edit. I'm going to see if maybe I can get some friends to help me out with it, but either way, that's coming. Now this is just one step in the process. All of my chrome parts that I have, all of my non-black parts, anything that isn't red, I want to redo and I want to paint in black powder coat. And it has been quite an adventure setting that up and getting that ready. It was a little bit intimidating once I got started, realizing how much I had to do. But in the time that I've been waiting for this to arrive, I've been able to put together most of the pieces of the puzzle. And I think that I'm ready to actually spray some stuff today. So before I go over the whole setup, we're just gonna unbox this package that I got from Eastwood. And I'm going to show you everything that I bought, and hopefully it's everything that I need to actually start spraying some parts. So let's crack into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and crack this bad boy open and show you everything that we got here today. So the most important thing obviously is the powder coating system. So this was recommended to me. I was doing some research online, and I know Harbor Freight has a unit, but most of the people who do powder coating, shout out r/powder coating, recommended that I get this as my starting unit. So this was about $100 on sale. I think it's normally $200 maybe, but yeah, spent about $100 on the Eastwood website. And this is going to be our powder coating system. So we cracked this open. What we see in the box, we got this nice little pamphlet here. I think this is just like a catalog. That's great. We've got the actual sprayer here. So let me see if I can pop this out. Okay, so that's zip tied in. I'm gonna get something to cut the zip ties in just a moment. And then we have the unit here. I see we have, to figure out what that is, I think that might be to activate the spray gun. Not sure. I'm gonna have to read the manual. A little bit of desiccant, love that. We have our 110 plug. This is our ground clamp. And then I would assume somewhere, probably in the unit itself, is somewhere that we hook up our air line. Yeah, right here, so I'll have to put on an air nozzle onto that. But this seems pretty straightforward, so once we get finished with the unboxing, I'll start looking through the actual instructions for how to use this guy. So I'll just set that off to the side for now. Also, that we ordered, we got a bit of signal red powder, and that's to match our bike. Reading online, this is what was recommended as a match for the factory red color on my CT90. So I went ahead and got 1 pound of signal red. I also have 1 pound of jet black gloss, which we're going to use for a lot of the parts. I do want to make a lot of the parts black, so this will be very important. Hopefully 1 pound is enough. I'd really not want to have to order more, but we'll see what happens. I also got this high temp nylon tape, and actually looking at this now, I'm kind of wishing I got one that was a little bit thicker, but this will do for now. We can at least get started with that. Let's see, I got a free $2 bill in uncirculated condition. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Eastwood. I guess I will get my free uncirculated $2 bill. We got our invoice. So yep, we got, okay, so there was supposed to be gray primer in here. I thought I got gray primer, but I guess I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna have to check my order, because I thought I had gotten that, but I don't know, I'll double check. But yeah, I guess for now we'll just go straight in with the black, no primer. So we can just go ahead and yeet that out of the way. And I'm gonna start reading up on how to actually use this bad boy. So I'll end the recording real quick and check that out, and we'll come back when we're ready to spray something. Also, before I start my reading project, I just wanted to walk through my setup, everything that I got here to help with the powder coating, go over how much I spent, and let the YouTube comments section decide if I got a good deal or if I got ripped off. So anyway, starting here, now the first compressor I had was actually under my workbench, but I had a little 6-gallon pancake unit, and that was not powerful enough for the sandblaster. So I found this guy. It looks rough, but it works very well. This is if I had to guess, like 1980s or 1990s. It's a Sayasons, which I had never heard of before, but it is made in California. So, I mean, I don't know when's the last time you heard of something being manufactured in California, but that was exciting. And it is a belt-driven V-twin oil lubricated compressor. And this thing can run all day long. Haven't had any problems with it. Still got to change out the oil, but the thing runs great. I got it from some old timer who, you know, assured me that he hardly used it. The finish, I mean, the rust is mostly because the guy lived like right near the coast. So, I mean, stuff's going to get a little surface rust on it. But the thing works great. I tried to talk him down. I really did. He had it up for $350. I ended up getting it for $250. And this unit is, let's see, I think, yeah, 115 PSI. It's kind of hard to read, but I think it says like 10 point something CFM, so that's pretty good. It's a 23-gallon tank. But yeah, like I said, it has no problem running the compressor. And yeah, it runs 115 and 230 volts. So it was wired for 230. I had to reverse the wiring and the motor there. But she runs like a top, and she's great. So again, yeah, 250. I also got the sandblaster that I got specifically for this restoration project. It's an old Harbor Freight unit. Included was a bunch of sand, so that was one more thing I didn't have to buy. One thing I did have to buy was some new glass for it. The glass was pretty messed up. So I just went to Lowe's and had them cut me out a 12 by 24, and I sandwiched that on the bottom side here. I know normally these things come with like a sheet of plastic underneath, so that was super scratched up on this one. I could barely see, had to smash my face up against the glass. So we got a new 12 by 24 panel there, and you can see in there just fine. I've just been sticking my flashlight under there, magnetic one that, you know, lights it up pretty well. So for this sandblasting cabinet, I paid $95 plus a 12-pack of beer. The 12-pack of beer was about $10. Shout out Kirkland. So we'll call it 115 or 105. We'll call it 110. So 250, 110. We're at $360. And then, oh yeah, plus the pane of glass. So another 15. We'll call it 375. Also, this little toaster oven. So I got this on Facebook Marketplace to use, works fine, paid $15, so we're at $390. And then this is my paint booth that I created. This is all pretty much stuff I had laying around. I did get this air filter at Lowe's. It was like an odd size that they had on sale. I think it was like $5. So we're at what, $380. Got a little pack of hangers. These were just under $10, so we'll call it $390. And I know I'm forgetting something. Oh, for the bigger parts, I got these infrared lights. These were $50. There's a guy on YouTube who says that he was able to do some powder coat curing with these. And I'm not so sure that I'm going to get a nice even coating. So my plan, ignore the mess here. I got this cabinet. This was $30 on Facebook Marketplace. So the idea is, I take this shelf out, okay, cut some holes in the walls, and then mount those infrared curing lamps to the sides, and then basically this becomes my oven. I tried to, I was looking into getting an electric oven for free on Facebook Marketplace, but I don't have 220 wiring that I can use for it, and can't use a gas oven. I have a gas line, but can't use a gas oven because that'll potentially ignite the off-gassed gases that come from the powder coating. So this was the best thing I could come up with. Worst case scenario, I can scrap it and use the sheet metal for something, but yeah, so we'll use that for the bigger parts. I lost track of where we're at. I think we were at $390, paid about $50 for the curing lights, so we're at $440, $30 for that, $470. Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, and then the big one was This order from Eastwood was $170. So what is that? $640. Yeah, I spent more on this than I should have. And then obviously the shop vac, which was like another $70. So $710. Jesus. Now that I add it all up, I'm like, holy crap, I spent a lot of money. Maybe I should have just taken these parts in to get coated, but whatever. At least I can do it now. I can do it myself. So with all that being said, I'm going to now read up on how to use my fancy new Eastwood powder coater, and we'll come back when it's time to spray some parts. Alright, so I've gone through my study materials. I've got my unit pretty much ready to go. The first thing I'm going to do is a pretty inconsequential part here. This is part of the brake rod assembly for this CT90 that I'm building. And I figure this should be an easy test part. No one's really going to see it anyway, so good place to start. Based on the manual here, since it is a small part, I took off the deflector cup. And I think we're pretty much ready to plug this thing in and get started. I've got my toaster oven heating up. So before I set this up and get this ready to spray, I'm just going to go ahead and sandblast this part and get it absolutely clean and ready for powder coating. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm in my blast cabinet here, and we're just going to go ahead and give this thing a quick once over. I don't think this is going to take too particularly long to get done. Just clean that up real quick. So I actually already soaked this in Evaporust a few weeks ago. And that's just how much built up that quick. Quite a bit. How much rust, I mean. So yeah. It's a little bit damp down here. And, you know, humidity's a little high down in San Diego. Should have my shop vac on right now, but I have that outlet being used by the toaster oven, so it's going to get a little dusty in there. There we go, good to go. Alright, now the next topic of discussion, you should ideally prep these with like some sort of a cleaner to prevent any like contaminants on the surface that are going to affect the finish. And I was reading in that pamphlet there that there are products that Eastwood themselves sell that are meant for this purpose. I was originally just going to use rubbing alcohol, but I looked all through my house and I don't have any. So I am just going to spray this thing down with compressed air and hope for the best. So I got my air compressor here. I'm going to crank up the pressure on my compressor one more time real quick. And like I said, we are just going to hope for the best. If this doesn't come out well, then I can always redo it, you know, put it back in the cabinet and start over. But give this a quick spray down. Hopefully all goes well here. I might even pre-bake this a little bit because now that I think about it, I don't have an oil filter on my compressor, so this could just be adding stuff to the surface. So I'm gonna like kind of pre-bake it for a little bit, and once I pull it out, we can start actually blasting it. I'll get going on prepping the actual powder coating unit in the meantime while I let this cook for a minute. So bear with me. Alright folks, so I went ahead and let the part cool down, and I've got everything ready to go here. So real quick, I'm just going to throw on my PPE. I've got the oven already preheated. It's been on for about 20 something minutes, so it should be good to go. It's a little bit tough to get the part and the oven and everything in frame because I'm not trying to touch the camera or anything when I move that into the oven. So I'm just going to leave this one nice long cut here. I'm going to plug in the powder gun, I'm going to throw on my PPE, and I'm going to give this a spray and see how it goes. So wish me luck here now. Oh, one quick note. You should wear goggles when you do this. I have goggles. I don't know where they are. So I'm going to be extra careful when I'm doing this. I'm going to be wearing safety glasses. But don't be like me, wear proper PPE. But Yeah, so I'm gonna get that all thrown on real quick, hook up the gun, and get to spraying. So wish me luck. All right, here goes nothing. Pick this bad boy up. Alright, there we go. Got the powder gun on. The activation switch here. So as far as I understand, I'll hit the button, drop it on the floor first, of course. Hit the button and then it's charged and ready to go. So let's see what happens. And the part is turning black, so that's a good sign. Just going to get a good coat on it. Now I've got this at about 5 psi, so I don't know if maybe I might ultimately raise that up a little bit, but I'm just going to run it at 5 for this part and see how it goes. Flip it around and get the back side. Alright, and I mean, I don't know how much is enough, but that feels good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug the powder coating unit. I'm going to pull off at least my respirator for now so you guys can hear me. And of course I need to double check my sheet for how long I need to set a timer for this guy. Alright, it says 400 for 20 minutes, so that's going to be what we're going to shoot for here. Now I already kind of test fitted this in my oven, and I am going to have to put a second hook on it to get it to sit straight. Hopefully going to have a slightly better solution for some of the other parts I'm going to do, but this particular part I'm going to have to put in with 2 hooks to hold it flat. So I'm going to very carefully transfer this part into my oven here. So I'm just going to pull my hook out through this hole that I made in my cabinet there. And like I said, very carefully add a second hook. And I'm going to toss this into my oven. Here it goes. Okay, so we got that hanging up. And there we go. We're curing. Let's go. Now, everywhere I've read online has basically told me that it's not 20 minutes at 400, it's 20 minutes since the surface temperature of the part reached 400. Now, I don't think this thing is going to give me the most accurate temperature readings, but it does have a temperature sensor. So if I point it there, it says that's at 96. Feeling it, that feels about right. So I'm just going to, in a minute or two, crack this open and point it at my part and see what temperature it says this is at. I'll just do it now, why not? So I'll point it there, right at my part, and it says we're at 387, so I'm just gonna go ahead and set my 20-minute timer now, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, the cure time is up, so I am just gonna turn off the oven. I'm gonna leave it open, let it cool off that way. I don't want to handle this part at all until it's ready to, or until it's cooled off. So I mean, just looking at it, it does look pretty good from this angle. It is a nice gloss black, so I'm feeling optimistic. We'll see how it looks once we get it off there. I think for the remainder of the parts that I'm going to do today, I'm going to try and see if there's a way that I can just keep it on this rack for the curing. But for right now, here I'll bring the camera in there. show you guys what we're looking at. That's what we're here to see. So yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. So like I said, I'm gonna wait for this to cool off in here, and once it's cooled, I'm gonna go and grab it and give you guys a closer look. Well, here it is, the finished product. I'm not too upset with it. I mean, the surface finish isn't great, and if we look closely, we'll see there's some marks here from where the hooks were hanging, and that's going to be some technique stuff I'm going to have to work out on my own. But I mean, for a first try, I'm pretty happy with that, man. I mean, I can figure out how to get this dialed in. And again, mind you, this is a part that's, you know, not very many people are even going to notice it. It's the brake rod assembly. It's tucked behind the swing arm, so I just figured this was a good, you know, trial piece. And I mean, I'm not mad at that. I think that's pretty decent. So, trying to decide which part I'm going to do next. I'm thinking that the next part we're going to do is the brake drum cover, the thing that holds the brake shoes. So I went ahead and got that put into the oven. I gave it another blast real quick. It is aluminum, so there's not really any oxidation or anything that built up on it, but I gave it a blast and I gave it a spray, and now I'm just baking it, doing the pre-bake like I did on this part, just to try to cook out any of the oils that are in there. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of prep on it, so I'll throw on some fresh gloves. I'm gonna put some of that tape, that high temp tape, on there so that we can hopefully cover up any of those holes. And I am just gonna spray the front side. So this part, I should be able to just lay down on that tray in there. So I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer, and like I said, I'll get that prep done on it, and we'll get to spraying. So stay tuned for that. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about that last part. I've got this thing up next. I can't remember for the life of me what this is called. I've been calling it the brake drum cover, brake hub, whatever. So it's the part that the brake shoes sit in. Now, the back side of this part isn't going to get seen, and it's aluminum, so I'm not going to worry about powder coating the back side. Now, on the front side here, you'll notice that I have this tape here. That's that high temp tape. One technique that I saw somebody do for masking these is to basically lay it down. I didn't record it. I was jamming out to some music. Sorry about that. But to lay out the tape and then just sort of tap the edge with a hammer. And, you know, it got a pretty decent result. There's a little bit of, overhang there, whatever. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just going to come in at a high angle there and hopefully get it underneath there. None of this is going to get seen too much. Now, for this part here, obviously, I wasn't able to tap the edge with a hammer. So what I did was I just sort of traced it out with an X-Acto blade. And I feel like that kind of worked a little bit better. So, again, this is also a part that's not really going to get seen, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect. But, yeah, so that part, I let it bake in the oven after sandblasting it and then shooting it with the air gun a little bit. Again, ideally, you'd have alcohol or some type of surface prep. I know Eastwood sells something for it, but this is what I'm doing for now because I don't feel like going to the store, and I've dropped enough money on all this stuff. So we'll see what kind of finish I get. If it's not great, again, I can just blast it and start over. But I figured I would just show really quickly what I did here while I'm waiting for the part to finish cooling off. And in a minute, we'll start doing the powder coat. All right, I think our next part is sufficiently cooled. So I got my powder coat machine hooked up, and we're gonna go ahead and spray it down. So here goes nothing. First big part that we're doing, of course, first and foremost, get our PPE on. Make sure the box fan in the back of my cabinet here is on. And we're ready to rock and roll. Here goes nothing. Gotta work on our setup, but we're getting there. One thing at a time. Alright, here goes. Alright, something ain't right. Gotta check my air pressure. Pressure seems a little low. Turn it up a little bit. Oh. Yeah, we're plugged in. Try that again. There we go. Alright, what's going on? I'll squeeze in over here. Try not to block the camera too much. I gotta go in and get this other side of the part. Bring my setup over a little bit. Alright. That feels like enough. Make sure we get all the little nooks and crannies. Alright. 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 I'm going to say that's good. So I'll go ahead and pull off my grounding clamp there. Scoop this whole setup out of the way. Go ahead and take off my respirator there. Now so this one I'm just going to try to lay down flat onto this oven rack here. I think I might actually, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to pull that out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do, because I didn't spray the backside, is I'm just going to grab the part there. A little bit of the powder did make its way to the back, but again, I'm not too concerned about all that. So I'm just going to very carefully lay this down here and pop that into the oven. And like we did last time, I'm going to wait until that surface temp reaches 400, check with my temperature probe there. So it's not the best camera angle. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to check the temp on that. Once it hits 400, then I'll go ahead and start my timer for 20 minutes. But my oven is at 400 and yeah, it's coming along. Hopefully this one comes out looking pretty. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I just pulled the brake drum cover out of the oven and that is looking good. I mean, the surface finish isn't great, but I mean, from what I saw online, it's like a pretty common thing with gloss black. It's kind of hard to get a nice, smooth finish. But, like, this is good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty freaking happy with that. In a minute, so it's cooling off right now. Once it's cool, I'll go ahead and peel off the masking and, you know, give you another good look at it. But, I mean, I'm pretty freaking happy with that. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so I've gone ahead and given the part plenty of time to cool off. I'm going to go ahead and pull off the masking now. Very carefully with my little hook pick here. Let's see. Watch me fumble a little bit. That's always fun. Let's pick these guys off and chuck them on the floor and clean it up later. Yeah, not perfect, but again, nobody's going to see that part right there, so it doesn't really matter. And I'll go ahead and pull this guy off there. And there we go. I mean, I am very happy with that result. You know, I was a little bit unsure if I was ready to take on this big part, but I mean, I'm happy. I mean, that surface finish, it's not perfect, but like I said, I think that's fairly common with gloss black. It's a common experience that a lot of people see, but I think we're ready to get going on these parts. I think that looks great. I think if every part on this bike looked like that, I would be more than happy. I'm going to try to just put a quick bow on this one because I'm supposed to be upstairs watching a movie right now, and I just came down real quick to grab my phone. So, what did we learn today? I don't know, powder coating isn't all that hard. You just got to do your homework and, you know, get the right stuff. I'm glad that I listened to whoever it was on Reddit who recommended the Eastwood hot coat system. That thing works great. And yeah, I mean, these parts look fantastic. I couldn't be happier. And now it's just a matter of plugging and chugging to get the rest of these done for my CT90 restoration. So with that said, I hope maybe you learned something. I hope maybe this video is useful to someone out there, and have a great day and be kind.